Durant pull-up jumper off the rim and in! Oh! And the Thunder win! Come on, let's sing the Thunder song. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast. Second half edition, although it's not the second half, the post All-Star break edition. First one in our downtown offices. Darnell, how do you like the view? How do you like the new setup?
It's a pretty crummy view, I gotta be honest.
Well, the one right now, we got construction to our right.
We got mud on the window.
And our mobile setup. It will get better. Okay, what do you
Under
think of the whole
construction.
downtown offices?
The office is sweet. The office is really nice. And when we get in a new podcast studio, it's going to be even better because people are going to be able to walk by and see us.
TRL style?
Yeah.
The TRL style is going to be nice, but let's talk All-Star break.
Okay.
We had very different All-Star breaks.
Yeah.
You were in New York. That's probably the one people are a lot more interested in.
It was cold.
Like unbearably cold?
Yeah. At 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, it was -1. No, it was like 9, and it felt like -1. By 6:30, it was, I think, 1 and felt like -11. This is according to AccuWeather. I'm not just making up numbers. It was unbelievably cold. And then they had a wind chill factor that just ate your face up.
Okay.
It was bad. But the event itself, the actual weekend, it was a great All-Star weekend. No, it's not a sob story. It's a fact. I mean, it was cold in New York. But the All-Star weekend was fantastic. The entire weekend was fantastic. I didn't even watch the rookie sophomore thing, the U.S. First to World. I did not watch it. I watched the last like 3-4 minutes of it for what I don't know, but everything else was great.
Yeah.
All-Star Saturday night was great. I like the little skills challenge, the new format where they're going against each other. Patrick Beverly won the thing, which surprised me, but I think it surprised a lot of us. But I like the format where they're head-to-head. I thought that added an element of intrigue and excitement that wasn't there in the last couple of years. 3-point shootout was great. My man Steph Curry won, as I predicted.
Yeah, but I had Zach LaVine in the dunk contest. That was my pick.
I don't want to say the dunk contest is back, but that kid is legit.
Yeah.
19 years old.
Who'd you pick? I took
Giannis, and he was kind of horrible.
Yeah.
He wasn't horrible, but he was just, he didn't live up to the hype.
My guy stole the show.
His dunks were unbelievable. I never looked at the YouTube clips of him in high school and college, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because he impressed. I mean, there was one dunk. I think it was his second one. I jumped out of my seat. I literally jumped out of my seat in the media section, which is frowned upon.
Were you the only one that jumped out?
Well,
in
the media section, yeah.
That must have been pretty awkward.
But everyone kind of sort of, leaned back in their seats like, whoa. But
how close were you?
For the All-Star, because, they had this All-Star Saturday night in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, and then the game itself was in Madison Square Garden. But both venues, strangely enough, we were behind the basket. So end zone seats, just picture end zone seats.
Yeah.
Kind of halfway up.
How about Sunday, Russell Westbrook's appearance? His MVP performance.
Heck of a performance by Russell.
Yeah. I watched. That was like the one event. I mean, I've seen the LaVine dunks, but I was a little busy. But I watched the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I could tell early. You could tell early he was going after points, dunks. I mean, if you really go hard after points in an All-Star game, you're gonna get a ton.
The thing is, I don't think he was.
I think he was.
I don't think he was.
Like, I'm gonna win this MVP.
I think he made his first 4 shots,
but they were like dunk. His first quarter, he had, what did he have in the first? It was like, it was only about 4 minutes, but he played like the last 4 minutes of the first quarter. I believe he had 4 dunks, a layup, and 2 free throws. Like, everything was at the rim, and it looked like he was.
And then he got hot from 3.
And I think maybe you're right as far as he came out not necessarily looking to get the MVP, but when he got all those dunks, then it was like, okay, I got a shot at MVP. Then he started drilling shots. I actually tweeted at the end of the first quarter, Russell Westbrook may score 25+ without shooting a jumper. And then a minute later, he made like 4 straight jumpers.
I think when you got a hot hand like that, I mean, you're entitled to see how hot you really are. And I don't think he was gunning for MVP. I really think he was more just playing the game. He came out, he saw that he had it going that night, and it was his night. Like, he didn't do anything different. He didn't do anything different than James Harden or LeBron did. You know, they both were shooting up. There was one point.
I'm not saying
there was
those
one point in the game.
MVP either.
Well, who knows? But there was one point in the game. It was so quiet in the Garden that, you know, because that's more of a corporate crowd. It's not like diehard Knicks fans in there or anything. It's a corporate crowd. You don't just get tickets to the All-Star game.
Yeah,
so it's so quiet in there. At one point, one guy screams from the stands, "Pass the ball, LeBron." And I swear everyone in the arena heard him. Probably not LeBron, but, you know, they're locked in on the game. But, I mean, my point is, Westbrook wasn't the only one out there gunning.
Yeah, no, LeBron came out. I thought LeBron was going to try to go for 50. Melo, I think, tried a little bit, but he was so off. I think he's like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah. Speaking of off, not a good night for Kevin Durant. 10 minutes, 1 of 6, 3 points.
Yeah, but you could tell he was really never in it.
He didn't care.
Yeah, which I don't blame him. He knew he was barely going to play.
Yeah.
I think he was coming out. All 6 of his shots were threes. I think once he hit one, he was over it. I think he missed his first 5, then hit his 6th. Then he's like, "All right, I'm on the board at least."
Yeah, he didn't. I think he was disinterested. He didn't start. He had the foot injuries, a nagging foot injury, minor probably, but
still, I mean,
I don't think he cared. Which is interesting because he obviously was so interested in going.
Well, I think he had fun the rest of the weekend. Where he did not have fun playing the game, it didn't seem, and he definitely did not have fun talking to the media. But I think all the events and other stuff. You know, didn't he like open a concert for
Kanye West
that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
And some of the other events, and you know, I'm sure the parties he went to were decently entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I would have gone if I was him. But do you want to get into his comments a little bit? You were there. Set the scene of those comments. It was
two settings. From the
outside looking in, I think they've been overblown a little bit.
Not a little bit. They've been overblown a lot of bit.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times ESPN has reached out to me wanting me to come on radio, Sports Center, Sirius, XM Radio has wanted me to come on. NBC Sports Radio, just all these radio stations throughout the country, television.
Most of them,
all of them.
I think they come to me because I've been getting emails.
Yeah. Have you gone on?
I've gone on like once or twice.
Yeah,
I've denied a few.
I've turned them all down because, you know, I think it's overblown.
Yeah, certainly.
You know, who cares how he feels about the media? To me, the bigger issue is, you know, who is this Kevin Durant? That to me is the question. Like, we've seen him carry himself a certain way for 7 years, and then all of a sudden in year 7.5, he decides he wants to, or in year 8, really, he decides he wants to start saying F you to people who are criticizing him or question him for dropping out of Team USA in the World Cup. He's telling people that he doesn't like them. You know, it's just the
going
way
after
he's
people on Twitter.
Yeah, he's calling Chris Palmer a dumb such and such.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
the flagrant then technical against Kenneth Faried was pretty funny too.
Yeah. I mean, he's just,
which
that to me is the bigger issue. Like, who is this Kevin Durant?
But to his defense, what's been very different than his first 7 years is how the season has gone. They're a team that has a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, only 3 games or 3 games over 500, only a half game.
And
they're still a half game out of the playoffs.
He's missed 16 games combined in his first 7 seasons, and they were all for like little minor injuries that were like, you know,
sprained ankle here.
Ankle that everyone sprained and missed a few days. These are like, hey, he had surgery for the first time. Like his foot is now sore like during games, not because it's injured, but just because it's surgically repaired. Like, he's now getting the nagging injuries as you get older. And you get grumpy. You know,
grumpy KD.
We've talked about it. Like you've probably had some injuries that when you're injured, you're a little bit more ticked off. When people are doubting your team, and you can't do as much about it as you have in the past. When there's games that your team needs to win and you can't even play in them. Like remember he didn't travel to New Orleans. I mean, these are injuries that put you in a frustrating mindset.
Yeah, he's missed 27 games this year. He's only played in 26. His team is struggling. They're getting a lot of pressure. People expecting them to win it at some point. You know, everyone talks about that window closing. So I think they're feeling pressure a little bit.
And another thing with the comments he made specifically, about the media, to the media, people need to understand, like, this isn't his normal media access where, like, we get to talk to him after practice or before a game. Like, All-Star Weekend, there is just floods and floods of, like, random media in there.
You wouldn't believe you wouldn't have believed the scene in New York. Like, last year in New Orleans, it was probably half as many people. But this year in New York City, in New York City, it's like everyone came out.
Media.
I mean, Adam Silver goes up there trumpeting, we've got a record 1,800 international media. I'm like, dude, that's not a good thing. Like, half of them are taking selfies with players.
Yeah, that's an issue.
And, it's just it's bad.
The one I don't like is when they go up and they use people's, like, time to actually ask legit questions to say, hey, look into the camera and say, like, we love you, and,
Japan, China, Italy, Croatia, Costa Rica. Like, these are all countries that Westbrook and Durant, I heard these journalists ask them to say, which, I mean, these guys don't get to go to freaking Costa Rica and show their face, make appearances, so I get it. But
and that's the thing. I don't mind it too much because it's just one weekend, whereas, like, tomorrow we're going to get Durant in a better setting where it's after practice and we'll be talking about basketball, the stuff we need to.
But it's not about us. It's for them. Like, who cares about us? It's about them. Like, they have to do that. And they sit there for 45 minutes doing it over and over and over. And then the next day they got to do it for another 15, 30 minutes. It's like, okay, this is nuts. With that being said, it shouldn't be that difficult to just answer the question and move on.
I agree with that. I'm just saying I think that feeds into all the frustration we're talking about, is that he probably boiled over a little bit, especially in that situation that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or that you were there for. But
what did you think about his MVP? I mean, that to me was more interesting.
What?
His comments about the media voting for MVP and postseason awards.
Oh, I mean, I kind of agree. I don't necessarily think we should hold all the power in that as well. It's kind of a flawed system, and it always will be. I mean, any voting type of thing for, like, sports where it's like it's gonna be opinion based. It's the same. It's the worst is, to me, it's not awards. It's like college football. They vote teams, or like have humans pick who should be in the playoffs. Basically, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where the reason why other sports have better playoff systems is because, like, the NBA, like, oh no, this is your record, that's why you got in. So I've never because anyone can have whatever opinion, you know what I mean? It's regardless of it's us who have the opinion or if it's players who have the opinion. There's a lot of uninformed players.
Yep.
Kevin Durant, you know what Kevin Durant says to us a lot? I mean, I don't know if this is true. He may just be saying this because he doesn't want to answer it, but somebody will ask him, like, what have you thought about the Blazers' hot streak lately? And he'll be like, man, I don't watch, I'm just concerned about us. I don't watch that.
Right.
I don't watch a lot of basketball when I'm at my house. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of uninformed opinions within the media. Like, who's watching Sacramento Kings games on Tuesday nights that aren't?
I was looking at the Thunder schedule this morning. And I see the Pacers are coming to town.
How many Pacers?
I ain't seen a dang Pacers game all year.
That's what I mean, and it's like, so it's tough. So I mean, you want to give those.
Good thing they don't have anybody up for awards.
You want to give those votes to the most informed, but it's just, I think the most informed come from different areas, and they're tough to find. And I think the whole awards and everything are a bit overrated. Anyways, I mean, it's just like all-star appearances and who makes the all-star team and this and that. That's the good thing about the NBA play. I think the NBA has the best playoff system because not only do you make the playoffs with, your record, like most sports, but also the 7-game series in every round, I think always, typically those 7-game series produce the best team usually comes out. You know, as far as the NFL, you can get upset. You know, it's a one-game thing.
Right.
You get upsets. And MLB baseball, you know, to me, so much more random, where, you know, a hot pitcher or something like that. Where, to me, the NBA produces the truest winner. But that's getting way off topic.
Yeah. Slater rant. Hashtag.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah, your All-Star different was a little... Your All-Star weekend was a little bit different than mine, but...
Sounds like you want to talk about yours.
I mean...
You went to Lubbock, Lubbock, Texas?
I don't want to talk about it a ton because I don't think anyone wants to hear about it. Yeah, I went to Lubbock. I will say, I believe it was 72 degrees. Nice little breeze.
See?
Watch some baseball.
72 sounds a lot better than minus 11.
Yeah, although Lubbock, Texas doesn't sound as appealing as New York City. But no, it's good. Like I said, you know, my brother coaches for USF. They got waxed by Tech, but Tech's top 10. You know who Manny Ramirez is?
Yeah, I know who Manny Ramirez is.
I assume you know who Manny Ramirez is. You want to know something funny? Manny Ramirez Jr. is on my brother's team.
Can he play?
He's a freshman, and he was like striking out a lot this weekend. But I mean, he's got, you know,
sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's got it looks like he'll be a player. Yeah. I mean, he's a freshman on a good D1 team that's like getting at bats.
Interesting.
It looks like a power.
Did Manny show up?
Mashes in BP. No, Manny was not there. It's interesting to me because how old? Manny's got to be, what, like 42 now? 41, 42?
At least.
And this kid, he's a freshman in college, so that would make him 18
19, yeah.
So Manny would have had him when he was about 23. Anyways, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting part of my weekend. But we should probably talk about the post-All-Star break. You want to do some... You know what I did last night?
What's that?
I went back to our preseason over-unders.
Okay. How good am I looking?
We're both, like, very average, I'd say.
Average?
Yeah, although the first one you
definitely
beat me on.
Nailed. I don't even know what you're talking. No, I'm just...
Kendrick Perkins over-under minutes per game.
What'd I say?
The over-under I set at 14.5, which admittedly was too low. And you said over. You said definitely over. And I said under.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, I need to look at his stats quick. But, I mean, I think he's averaging more minutes per game than last year when he started, which is a little bit surprising. I mean, he's played better, so I guess it's understandable. Yeah. Well, no, the same. This year he's averaging 19.2. Last year he averaged 19.5. But it's over 14.5. You're winning that one. But I got a question. Because of the emergence of Mitch McGary, when Steven Adams comes back, from the time Adams comes back, which is probably early March, through the playoffs, minutes per game, 16.5.
For Perk?
For Perk. I mean, do you think basically what I'm asking is, do you think his role will go down when Steven Adams comes back?
No. Because basically the question is, will Mitch McGary take Perkins' spot?
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening. Especially in the last part of the season where you're gearing up for the playoffs and then you go into the playoffs. Scott Brooks, and rightfully so, is going to want his most experienced players on the floor. So I see Perk staying right where he is. He's played fairly well. Like, I mean, you can't can't take that away from him. Yeah.
At least the last three. This is gonna go into the McGary. We had over under, but I had McGary's playoff minutes per game at 15.5, and it sounds like you're saying
Jeez.
under. This is my thought on it. I think they're very likely going to play the Warriors.
Okay.
Like, it is a 1-8. I mean, there's a chance it's not, but I'd say that's the most likely scenario. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
In a Warriors-Thunder series, Mitch McGary, I think, serves a greater role than Kendrick Perkins. Whereas if it was a Grizzlies series,
I'm not sure about that.
If it was a Grizzlies series, I'd flip it and say Perk's way more important than McGary. But what about a run and gun where the Warriors are going super small?
I think Golden State. I think Golden State's ability to score would eat Mitch McGary alive defensively. And even though Perk's not the best answer against a team like Golden State, if Bogut's on the floor, that actually plays into the Thunder's hands. So I don't think that Mitch McGary is the answer against the Warriors. Perkins is not ideal.
Against
Perk's not ideal.
None of them are really ideal, and
I would trust him more against the Warriors than Mitch McGary because defense is not his strong suit.
I mean, to be honest, there's probably going to be a lot of lineups where Durant's the 4 and Ibaka's the 5.
Right.
But I do think Mitch McGary would be interesting in that series. He's a running gun, really physical style center, but who can also get up and down with the Warriors. I think he'd be interesting in that series. I don't think we've seen enough of him to know if he'd be a liability or if he could,
Well, Memphis ate him up. Memphis ate him up.
You know who would be very interesting for him to guard? And to
Draymond Green?
No. David Lee. He's like a young David Lee to me with the lefty, crafty. Like, that'd be kind of, I think when David Lee's in, you put Mitch McGary in, you got a better version of David Lee. I don't know.
Not yet.
Not yet. I don't know.
A new version of David Lee. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have said better.
No, not better.
But, well, that'll be interesting. The next one was Steven Adams over under 8.5 points per game. You said over. You predicted 11 and 7.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And I
was he at 7 and 7?
Yeah, he's at 7.
Yeah, remember there was we saw signs in the preseason. I think the injuries hurt. Westbrook missing those first or 14 of the first 16 games.
And his touch hasn't been what it's been in the preseason. Remember in the preseason, like he was in Dallas dropping 24, like baby hooks. Yeah.
That's why I went so high on the points. And if Durant had been, if Durant doesn't miss 27 games so far, then maybe, just maybe, he gets to 11. Durant helps him, get easy buckets. His free throws are a problem. He gives away a bunch of points. He gives away a bunch of points at the line. So, but he's coming on.
Like one a game. Yeah, he is. He's shooting 54, almost 55%. One issue, he only plays 24 minutes a night, which is understandable in some ways with like the different lineups the Thunder can go. Perks had a better year. Ibaka can play some 5. But I still think Steven Adams should be getting 30 plus a night.
Yeah, I don't have too big of an issue with it.
Yeah,
Perk has played well. Like if Perk wasn't playing well, then I got my bigger issue is Dion Waiters getting those minutes over Reggie because Reggie is clearly a better player. So if it was one of those situations, I would have more of an issue. With the Adams minutes, I don't have much of an issue.
Okay. This was maybe my favorite question we had in the preseason podcast. More 3-point attempts, Russell Westbrook or Anthony Morrow. You remember that one?
Yep. Who I go, Morrow?
No, you went Westbrook. And you said it was like you said you wished it was Morrow, but you thought it was going to be Westbrook. But I remember we could tell in the preseason, or at least I could, Westbrook seemed to be cutting the threes down. And he has. I got to look right now.
He had a stretch where he just started letting them fly again. It was right after we asked him, hey, you cut down your threes, and then he comes out the next 5-6 games and starts taking like 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah, but then he actually pretty honestly came out and said he had to cut him down. Remember?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Well, I'm saying
when we talked to him, they were down, and we asked him about it, and then all of a sudden, the very next game,
I remember
they went up
against the Warriors, which I think it's hilarious. I think sometimes when he plays point guards who shoot threes, we talked about it, but he just loves throwing them up. Anthony Morrow Anthony Morrow's taking more. So you were wrong. I was right on this one. Yes.
Well, Anthony Morrow missed what, 6 games?
Okay, well
Westbrook missed 4.
We'll put it like this: Anthony Morrow averages 3.9 3-point attempts per game. Russell Westbrook averages 3.5.
Okay.
So Morrow's taking more per game.
Yeah.
Westbrook's the year before, Westbrook averaged 4.7 per game, and he's cut that to 3.5.
Good for him.
Which is good, which is very good for him because he's shooting 28% from 3, which is not good for him. Anthony Morrow is 3.9 per game. He's only shooting 37%, which takes me to my question for the second half. Anthony Morrow is shooting 37.1% from 3. Does he finish above 39% from 3?
Yes. Where is he now? 37?
37.
Yeah, I think because he's at 37 because he's had he had a bad January. He had a horrible January.
The worst month ever.
And now you're seeing in February he's starting to pick it back up, and I think he's going to finish the month strong, and I think he's going to finish the season strong. his slump is out of the way. It was basically a month-long slump. So I think he's going to finish strong.
He went 0-4 in the Grizzlies game, but he's still shooting 43% this month. He shot 28% in January.
Yeah.
I agree. I think he'll finish right around 39. He's going to be really important in the playoffs.
Yeah, now you got Durant back. You got Westbrook healthy. Those guys are going to get him open looks. So he's going to have even better looks than he did before. So, yeah, I'm going to say over.
Our next one is my favorite one. And I think
Serge Ibaka three-point shooting? Yeah. How'd I guess?
Serge Ibaka made 360. By the way, you
predicted. Nobody loves it more than you.
You predicted. I went back and listened to it last night, which was my favorite segment in history. And I wrote some of your quotes down. First of all, you started with, no way this is possible.
Yeah.
35. No, that sounds too high. 30. And then you said something like, to make 63s, you got to shoot like 150. There's no way you're shooting 150.
Right.
And then you close it out by saying, he could play 82 games and average 48 minutes per game, and he's not getting close to 63s.
Nice.
He's obviously already eclipsed that. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
My question, because along with his spike in threes, his field goal percentage is way down. We've talked about he's having a down year. Right now he's shooting 45.9% overall, not from three, just overall, which is.
But he's hitting threes. He's shooting 40% from three.
Look,
congrats.
I've gone on record saying I think his threes are fine. I think he should shoot. He's the third best player on this team, but he's having a down year in other categories, including mid-range shooting, shots at the rim. He doesn't, he's not getting up for dunks as often.
Here's my thing about Ibaka, okay?
Please don't say rebound.
I'm not saying anything about his three-point shooting that hasn't been said. I don't have like a huge problem. I'm not suggesting he stopped taking threes, which, somehow that's become the narrative, or you've led people to believe like I don't think he should take threes. No, that's not the case.
Being accused.
But my thing is with Ibaka. If he worked as hard on his low post game, his ability to finish around the basket, as he clearly works on his three-point shot, what type of player would we see? And how would that then help the Thunder long term? I think the answer is a hell of a player, and it would benefit the Thunder much more than his three-point shooting. Long term. I'm talking playoffs, finals, when it matters most. And we haven't seen that. That's my biggest problem with Serge Ibaka.
I agree with some of your points. My question in a second, because I think he needs to get back to being the efficient guy. And, I don't mean that he's got to cut his threes out, but I just think he needs to hit that mid-range more, maybe even shoot it more. And he's just got to finish better around the rim, finish more powerfully around the rim. I think a lot of it's a fatigue factor that we've talked about.
I got a question. You got all of these, you got like legends of the game, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, guys like that. It's funny how like people these days, fans, media members, just basically ignore legends who've played at the highest level, won championships, not Barkley, of course, but know what they're talking
Johnson
about.
Said some strange things. He called Klay Thompson the second best player in basketball like 2 weeks ago.
Did he say second best or second best all around? Because I think he said second best all around, which
that would be the second best. And do you think Klay Thompson's the second best player, second best all around player?
He might be, because his defense is worlds better than Kevin Durant's.
Magic Johnson has said some strange things.
And Russell Westbrook's, who I think is the third best player. So, and his scoring is right there with both of those guys. So, I mean, you sleep on Klay Thompson, man.
I'm not sleeping on
you sleep on Klay Thompson.
He's a good player. I don't think he's the second best player. All I'm saying is
second best all around players. I believe what he said.
To your argument, Magic Johnson has said some strange things.
Yeah, I mean, he says a lot of strange things, but it's just funny to me how, people are so quick to dismiss what guys who have clearly gotten it done in their careers before.
I don't know who dismiss. I mean, who's like just completely dismissed.
I see a lot of people just, laughing at what Barkley and, Isaiah and Chris Webber and Magic, all of these guys have to say. And to me, that's just, If so many different guys are saying it who have done it, it'd be one thing if like I was saying it, you were saying it, whoever was saying it. But these are guys who are legends of the game, and they're saying it for a reason. Like even if you disagree with them, if you disagree with them, I mean, I would think that they would be I would think that they would be held in high enough esteem to where you would at least listen to their point and say, all right, what is he trying to say? Does he have a point? But people just like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, they don't like math.
People, but at the same time, they do have a platform, and their opinions, in my estimation, are respected because, hey, when Magic Johnson pops off, it's a note in our notebook. It's a tweet. It's different things. So I mean, people do listen to them. As far as if I pop off or you pop off about Serge Ibaka, about Blake Griffin or something, it's not like the LA paper is going to quote us in their paper like, hey, this guy said this.
Right.
So I still think they are. But my question about Serge was, do you think he can shoot 50% or above in the second half through the playoffs?
No.
From right now?
No. What would make me think that? Nothing that he's done makes me think that he's going to turn it around and stop shooting as many threes.
I wonder how he's going month by month.
I think he will. I think his mid-range jumper will get better. I think that will improve. But I still think he settles for too many threes. Like he's fallen in love with the 3-point shot, and who knows why? I don't know. I think it's more to do with just he's shooting a great percentage from there. I think it's a deeper reason, personally. I don't know what that reason is.
You know the argument I don't like on Serge Ibaka's threes, though?
What?
When people rip him about rebounding.
Yeah.
The Thunder are the number one team in the NBA in rebounding.
Right.
You know who's the number one player on the Thunder in rebounding?
I'm guessing Serge Ibaka, if you're bringing it up.
So Serge Ibaka is the number one rebounder on the NBA's number one rebounding team. Rebounding's not as big an issue as people think. The Thunder just gang rebound. They rebound. Maybe he could get an offensive rebound or two more per few games.
Yeah, which you know what that would do? Help his field goal percentage.
But I mean, he's offensive rebounding pretty good. I mean, we see it. I just think it's a fatigue issue.
He was at 2.8 the last 2 years, 2.9 3 years ago. He's down to 2.1 this year. His lowest since his rookie year, 1.9 offensive rebounds. So clearly it's an issue.
To me, that means once every 2 games he's not getting an offensive rebound.
His offensive rebounding, his offensive rebounding percentage, career low, 7. Total rebound percentage, career low, 12.3.
What people got to understand though is that everyone on the Thunder rebounds when you have a rebounding
point guard but Slater, that's been the issue. That's been their strategy. That's been the way they've rebounded for 7 years. But last year, his total rebound percentage, 15. The year before that, 14.2. Year before that, 15.9. His second season, 16.4. His first season, 17.2. So he's gone down almost every year to a career low of 12.3 total rebound percentage now.
The reason why I don't think that's an issue is because Russell Westbrook's rebounds are a career high. Andre Robertson's a great 2-guard rebounder. Steven Adams is rebounding better. Rebounding is not an issue with this team. It's just not.
If he rebounded better, I understand your argument, and you make a good point. I'm not saying you're wrong. Rebounding is not an issue. And that's not my biggest issue with him taking threes, by the way. But if he got down there and rebounded better, it would help this team more. And I don't think you can argue that. Like, it would help him. It would help him. It would help the team.
But
in more ways than him shooting threes.
Means you're taking him away from threes where he is pretty clearly, by a large margin, your third best 3-point shooter on a team that doesn't have enough shooting.
I don't understand why you need him to shoot the threes. I mean, I don't understand it. Like, if he's down there rebounding, getting putbacks on the offensive end, or running the floor in transition to the rim running. Let me finish. If he's rim running, Slater, if he's rim running in transition and getting dump offs from Westbrook or Reggie Jackson, or if he's catching lob passes from them, or if he's cleaning the glass and getting putbacks, maybe even getting fouled and getting to the free throw line, where he is a
83%
83% free throw shooter. career high. But only shooting 1.6, almost a career low. 1.3, his rookie year was his career low. How is that not just as impactful, if not more, than trailing the break and stopping at the three-point line, maybe hitting a three-pointer, maybe getting it, maybe you don't even get it? To me, that's what you have to analyze more than, oh, he's a 40% three-point shooter, and the three-point shot is more valuable than the two-point shot.
To me,
it's bigger than that.
Okay, let me make just 2 points here. This team is a great rebounding team, so I don't think rebounding matters as much. And it's a team that gets to the free throw line a ton because Durant and Westbrook get to Westbrook's second in the NBA in free throws, and we know Durant gets there a ton. This team's one of its biggest weaknesses is three-point shooting. So he fills an area of weakness while taking away a little bit from the strengths. And the other point is we act like he doesn't do it. Yes, his offensive rebounding is down from 2.8 to 2.1. That means once every 2 games he's not getting an offensive rebound. That's not that huge a deal when he's, to me.
So I just read you all these numbers about being down across the board.
But
and you're saying it's once every 2 games. It's not a big deal.
I think that's deeper than it's just because he's shooting threes. You know what I mean? I think it's
which I've never argued. It's just threes.
Okay. Well,
but I think that has a lot to do with it. Like if you're camping out at the 3-point line, you're not getting as many offensive rebounds.
I know my opinion's unpopular, and people are probably going to tweet me.
I think your opinion's extremely popular. People because, and I've told you this before off the podcast. I think you base your opinions way too much on makes and misses instead of just analyzing what you're seeing and saying something's wrong there. Even if the shot goes in, you're like, hey, it's a good shot. If it misses, you're like, it's a bad shot. Reggie Jackson's 3-point shooting is a prime example of that.
Yeah, he's not a good shooter, in my opinion.
Case in point.
Yeah. No, make your argument, because I don't think many people think he is a good shooter, but you think
he's because I think a lot of people look at the numbers and say, oh, he's shooting, 20, pretty bad percent from 3. But he's clearly his biggest problem is shot selection. He takes bad shots, and early in the season, bad 3-point shots. And early in the season, he was taking a lot of shots late in the shot clock, which he wasn't making, and it was killing his percentage. So to me, I'm not going to call Reggie Jackson a bad 3-point shooter. I think he's a much better 3-point shooter. The numbers don't show it because he's taking bad shots. He's taking more of them, step back threes, things like that. But that's why, to me, when people say numbers never lie, like that's a lie. Numbers do lie. I think he's a much improved 3-point shooter. He just doesn't have the discipline, much like a lot of these players on this team, to take good shots. If he took good shots.
But I disagree with you saying I only look at numbers and stuff. I agree Serge Ibaka's having a down year. I just don't think it's for the reasons people are talking about. I think I've written about it. I think he's played every game. And he's tired. He had so much of a burden when Durant and Westbrook were out, and I think that struggled. I think it goes back to the offseason when he gets hurt in FIBA. He plays FIBA. It goes back to the playoffs last year when he has the calf thing. He does not look like the same player to me, not because he's at the 3-point line. Well,
first of all, they've played 53 games. You can't blame it on the calf anymore.
I just think it's a combination of things dating back to that.
Yeah, but he
looks tired.
It's like 8 months ago.
And he hasn't stopped playing since, and he hasn't stopped getting little nagging injuries, but playing through them.
Yeah, I think that's an excuse.
Well, I'm just saying right now, does it look like, regardless of if he's shooting threes or not, does he look like the same bouncy, energized player that you've seen in the past?
No, he does not.
On either end.
No, he doesn't.
So I think that's a deeper issue than like where he's setting himself up on offense. Maybe they're both issues. They probably are both, issues in some ways.
He's become more of a finesse player. He's always sort of been a finesse player, but he's become more of a finesse player, and I think that's a problem.
Okay. Jeremy Lamb was our next over-under.
How many more days in a Thunder uniform?
No, well, our over-under before the season was, will he shoot 44% or above?
Oh, God. What'd I say? Don't tell me.
We both took under.
Oh.
What is he shooting? I mean, he hasn't played in so long.
42%. 42.2%.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, how long will he be in a Thunder uniform?
He might be gone by Thursday. I don't see any reason to keep him around.
Yeah, I think for both parties, it works out better. Cut ties, give him a fresh start. Thunder maximize an asset, get a second-round pick.
It's a shame what happened to Jeremy Lamb.
But, I mean,
makes me sad.
He's still 22.
Yeah, but 3 years in OKC and nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
How much of that is on Lamb? How much of that is on the Thunder?
A lot of it's on Lamb. A lot of it. I mean,
they did give him a great opportunity.
He had 2 opportunities. Caron Butler came in, took one, and
but he had already.
He was playing sort of well before. No, he was playing well, and then he had like a little string of like 5 or 6 pretty bad games. I think it was 5 or 6 pretty bad games. My man Caron Butler comes in, and then he doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. They kind of gave him a shot this year, and he tanked a little bit, too. We talked about it in that podcast that I was listening to. He's kind of buried now in this rotation. But my question beyond that, and this is more of a Reggie Jackson question, but I just grouped Lamb and Perry Jones into it.
Let's hear how you're going to hate on Reggie Jackson this time. You're hating on him. Come on, bring it.
How many 15-plus point games will come from I call them the Three Stooges because I've heard them call them that in the locker room. We're talking about Jackson, Lamb, and Jones.
I prefer Three Amigos.
3 Amigos, okay. So I'm assuming you don't think Jackson or Lamb will have a 15-point game throughout the playoffs.
Is Reggie Jackson going to be on the Thunder in the playoffs?
What do you think? That's another question we can.
I think he will. I think it's going to be too hard to trade him.
Yeah,
but I think it's
not hard to trade him.
I think it's hard.
They could trade him tomorrow easily.
But they're not going to get much for him.
You're just not going to get what you want.
That's what makes it hard.
Yes, I agree with that.
But if you package him with Perk.
Are you looking at Brook Lopez still?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Brook Lopez, maybe Aaron Aflalo, something like that.
Aaron Aflalo's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even a big fan of Aaron Aflalo, but I think he's definitely an upgrade over Andre Robertson. Maybe not defensively, but offensively for sure.
No. Well, he's an upgrade of a player.
Yeah, overall.
Like he's the Thunder don't have, which is like a very steady two-way two-guard.
Right, he's a two-way. He's still good defensively.
Solid defender.
I don't think he's as good defensively as Robertson with his length. His ability to just stay with it. He doesn't care.
I mean, there's not many two guards in the entire world as good as Andre Robertson defensively, but you can't take that much away offensively. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My biggest problem with I'm getting off topic here, but my biggest problem with the Andre Robertson experiment is it's not going to work in the playoffs. So why are you wasting your time with it now? We've seen it the last 3-4 years. It's not going to work in the playoffs. He's going to have some moments. Where he's coming out, he plays good defense, but
he's actually shooting decently lately.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
I mean, offensively, they're not going to be able to get away with it. So I'm just like, why are they doing this right now? Why not just either stick Waiters in there, stick Morrow in there, and start gearing up for what you're going to see in the playoffs now?
15-plus point games from Reggie Jackson from now until the playoffs, if he remains on the Thunder.
What you're saying is you want me to answer the question.
9.5. Does he have 10 or more 15-plus point games through the playoffs for the Thunder?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah?
I'm going to say no. I mean, when's the last time he had a 15-point game?
I believe he had one against the Clippers.
Yeah, he was like 6 for 6 at one point. Or I think he went 6 for 6 that game. But
yeah, he had 15 against the Clippers when he went 6 for 6.
It was a while before that, though, right?
16 against the Heat on that big road trip they had.
AKA showcase game.
16 against Houston at Houston. Showcase game? You think he's going to Miami?
I think he'd be an upgrade over Norris Cole and Shabazz Napier and Mario Chalmers.
Super Mario. Yeah, he would be. Yeah, the problem is he just doesn't play that many minutes. Tough to score a lot of points when you don't play that much anymore.
Which is a problem.
Okay, we did Mitch McGary over under 30 meaningful games. You said under, and you took 4 again. I think it was an ode to Steven Adams.
I think I'm right. I think I win this one.
No, you don't win this
one. I think I win this one.
We both said under.
Okay, well, then we both win.
You said 4, and I said more than 4, and it's going to be more than 4.
With an asterisk.
No.
If Steven Adams doesn't get hurt, Mitch McGary's not playing.
In the season.
That's why you say barring injury. Barring injury, his over-under was going to be less. It's going to be under, and he was going to play 4 meaningful games. Look, he did not play a meaningful game before Steven Adams got hurt.
But he was playing. No, he was playing because Perk got suspended. He was playing an.
That was okay. He played 1 meaningful game before Steven Adams got hurt.
This is a great what if, because what if Adams doesn't get hurt?
Who are you, Bill Simmons now?
Definitely not.
Okay, what's your question? What if Adams doesn't get hurt? Then Mitch McGary's still on the bench, and he's probably with the Blue.
But remember, Mitch McGary explodes for 19 and 10 the same game that Adams gets hurt.
Yeah, and then he would have went right back to the bench. Like
people would have been grumbling.
Yeah, and they would have been grumbling then because he would have been on the bench.
All right, well, we got to get to lunch with Mike Baldwin.
Yeah, you know him well, Thunder fans, and I'm sure you heard the news. Mike's no longer with us. We had some layoffs, and Mike, unfortunately, was one of them. We're headed to a send-off for him, a lunch right across the street at Italian Express. You ever had that place?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's a buffet, huh?
Buffet? You just call it a buffet?
It was a joke.
Okay. I was about to kill you for that one. But let's get this done quick.
What else you got?
Our last one was Russell Westbrook technicals over under 15.5. You said under. You thought
By the way, he looked like a real great shooting guard in All-Star game, didn't he?
So, wait. You can make this argument on my next question.
All right.
You said under. You said 15. And I said over. I said 17. I think he's going to hit the 1-game suspension. And I think even with being hurt, he's, I think, double digits right now. 10 or so.
Yeah, he's not going to make it, though. Like, he's got 29 games. He still needs, I think he's at, 11?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think 11 or 12. I don't even think I think it's 11. So what is the number? 17?
Yeah.
He's not getting there.
Yeah, I don't think so. It'll be close. I think you're right. He'll probably hit it right on 15.
Once he got 11 or 12, whatever he's at right now, he chilled out. So I think he's going to be good.
Okay, and then my question for the rest of the way is more points, Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook the rest of the season? Which I think is an interesting question.
I think it's going to be Russell. I mean, Kevin's still banged up. You know, he's got times where he does have times where he can explode and just erupt.
When he's on the court, he's still.
But I mean, Russell's healthier. He's more aggressive. Kevin's more passive. I think it's going to be Westbrook. Nobody's telling them to stop shooting. Attack mode, hashtag. So
hashtag kill mode.
Yeah, kill mode, attack mode. Zero pass mode.
Why not? Don't hate on the Brody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Russ because I think Durant will just miss a few games. I think Durant's going to miss some games.
Who was the best point guard in the All-Star game for the West?
I mean,
who was the best point guard in the All-Star game for the West?
Chris Paul played point guard for the West.
Do you think there was a reason for that or not?
Yeah, because I mean, I've never argued that. Like, let's say Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, like Russell Westbrook was traded to the Clippers or whatever. They ended up on the same team.
Yeah,
Paul would take the ball handling abilities and be the
one. You think there's a reason for that or not?
Westbrook's a better scorer.
And Paul's a better what?
Passer.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere.
But they're both point guards. They just do it different ways.
Yeah, and Paul's better at actually being the point guard, which is why you just said he would run the team if they were on the same team, like we saw Sunday night.
There's different ways to do things. There's different ways to play point guard. Is Russell Westbrook a point guard?
He does not have the mentality of a point guard. He's more of a scoring guard.
He doesn't have the mentality of your ideal point guard.
No, he doesn't have the mentality of a point guard. It's not my mentality. It's not anybody's. That's what the position calls for. And we saw that play out in the All-Star game. He is a scorer, a great scorer. He's a great scorer.
More minutes the rest of the season, Dion Waiters or Reggie Jackson?
Thanks for admitting that I was right, by the way.
I did not admit you were right.
Yeah, you did.
They're both point guards.
That's as close as you're going to come to admitting it, but you just admitted it.
More minutes the rest of the season, Dion Waiters or Reggie Jackson? We got to get out of here.
Dion Waiters, unfortunately. That's a mistake.
He's been playing less lately.
It's a mistake because he's been playing poorly lately.
I'm going to say Reggie Jackson, and I agree with why you think Waiters.
You're going to say Reggie because he's going to be with, like, the Timberwolves or something, maybe Denver.
I don't. I think even if Reggie stays here, I think Reggie was kind of sort of, especially after the trade deadline when Reggie knows, hey, I'm here the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Reggie will know. If they don't trade him, he'll know by the Mavericks game. I can't do anything. There's no way for me to get on another team. I think that's an interesting checkpoint in Reggie Jackson's season, Thursday. Because you can't be sitting there waiting for another home. Just, hey, play out the season, do what you can, maximize yourself in the offseason.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't think, it's clear Brooks doesn't like the guy. That's my opinion. That's complete speculation. Don't get me wrong. It's not fact-based or anything. I don't think Brooks likes the guy.
Okay,
I think Waiters is going to play more.
Okay, we'll see. As we head into post-All-Star, you think Thunder going to be 8 seed? What are you saying 7? Just
if I had to bet on it, I'd say 8, but I think they can get 7.
Who is your Western Conference winner in the playoffs?
Like coming out of the West?
Yeah, who's coming out?
I'm going to say Memphis.
I'm going to say Golden State. Who's your Eastern Conference winner?
I'll say Chicago.
I'm going to say Cleveland.
Yeah.
Who's your NBA title team?
I'm going to say I can't see Memphis or Chicago winning it.
Well, you're in a
I'm going to say Chicago.
All right, I'm going to say the Warriors.
Warriors over your boy LeBron. Interesting. I didn't see that coming. Even from the guy who sits here and sleeps and hates on Klay Thompson all day, every day. Interesting.
You got a weird definition of hating on Klay Thompson. Just because I said he wasn't the best two-way all-around player or the best
name me the second best all-around player behind LeBron James.
I think
you can't.
Kevin Durant. All around.
Whose defense is better, Klay Thompson's or Kevin Durant's?
Klay Thompson's. Whose offense is better?
Kevin Durant's.
Okay.
But Klay, just like
we're acting like Kevin Durant does not play defense at all. You know what I mean?
You're acting like Klay Thompson doesn't play offense at all. He's averaging just as many points as Kevin.
I just think Kevin Durant is a better all-around player than Klay Thompson. I think they're both great. I think they're both top 12 all-around players.
Kevin can be pretty bad defensively.
He can be. He was good during his MVP season. Pretty good.
He's okay.
Incredible.
He's okay.
Blocks shots. Rebounds well.
He's okay.
He's a good rebounder for his position. I'm just saying you can't say because Durant's not a great defender.
Klay Thompson is a great defender, and he's a great offensive player. Kevin Durant is an incredible offensive player, and he's a marginally okay defender.
But when you balance it all, who's the better player?
Kevin Durant.
Boom. But then that's the question. Question is done.
But Klay Thompson is all around player.
This is the same as Chris Paul. This is unbelievable.
Chris Paul's best point guard in the league. Chris Paul's best point guard in the league.
Well, all right, guys.
Russell Westbrook's the third best player.
I got to argue this off air. I'll talk to you guys again next week.
Durant pull-up jumper off the rim and the Thunder win! All right, come on, let's sing the Thunder song. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.